Hi writers! First thing I want you to do today is go grab a pen, pencil, marker, crayon, whatever you like to write with, and some paper or your notebook or your sketchbook, whatever you want to write on. Go grab those really quick for me. You can pause the video and I will wait if you need a minute to collect those things. Okay, if you've got all your materials, we can move on. I would like you to please draw a line down the center of that page. We're going to make two columns. So the column on the left is going to be the good column. You can label it good or favorite or best or whatever. The other column is going to be the opposite of that. So bad or meh or least favorite or whatever you want to call it. So we're going to make a list of books. So your favorite books are going to go in the first column, the books that you really, really loved. The other column are going to be the books that you did not love so much. So those might be the love column, or the like column might be books that you've read a million times, books that you read a long, long time ago but have really stuck with you, books that you've read recently and just are so amazing you can't stop recommending them to everybody. Those are your like books, the best books you've ever read. The other column is going to be those books where you've read them and went, eh, or wondered who let this guy write a book, or said, that's some hours of my life I'll never get back. Those are your not so much like column. So your like column, I want you to think about why do you like those books? And I want you to put some comments down below or on our Facebook page or send them to me in a message. What about those books really gripped you? I know books that I love are always the books that have characters that I can really get into. They feel real to me. Characters who are like me or like people I know, or maybe like complete strangers that I can kind of get a glimpse into their mind and really get into them and really root for them. If I don't care what happens to a character, those are the ones that go into my bad column. There's a lot of times I'll read a book and I'll be like, I don't care if these people get together. I don't care if this guy wins or makes it through or whatever it is he's trying to do. Sometimes it's just like, whatever, I don't care. Sometimes it's those books where I love a surprise ending, for example. So those books where I'm 4 chapters in and I'm like, I know where this is going and I know how it's going to end. Those are the books in my bad column. Sorry. The books with a fantastic surprise ending where my mind is blown, those go in my good column. I love a book where as I'm reading, I go, because something happened or something awesome or something I didn't see coming and then it happened and I'm so excited about it. Those are my good books columns. I'm assuming that everybody who's a writer is also a reader. So this should be super easy for everybody because I'm sure you're all book obsessed, right? Those of you who are doing art projects, feel free to adjust this a little bit. Favorite paintings, favorite photography, favorite whatever it is that's something that excites you, favorite memes, so whatever excites you. Hopefully it's not a meme. I think we could do better than that, right? Whatever excites you in that good column, whatever you look at and think, this took up too much of my life. I'm not better for having seen it or read it or looked at it. Those go in your bad column. Give it some thought. Think about why those things are great. Think about why those things are not so great. That's going to kind of give you a clue about what you should be writing. So if you don't already have your writing started, if you haven't already figured out what your subject is going to be, if you haven't already figured out your story or whatever you're writing, this kind of can help guide you. So if you hate science fiction, you know not to start a science fiction book. Probably. I mean, there's chances. I mean, you can always change genres a little bit. So if you're like, not a science fiction person, never going to be a science fiction person, there might be some crazy story that works its way into your brain that's got science fiction aspects or that is science fiction and you have to write it. Who am I to say what your muse is going to tell you? So if you've got that story in you and it has to get out, let it out. But for the most part, the things that you like to read are also going to be the kinds of things that you like to write, with some exceptions. So, okay, send me those things. I think I did this backwards so it'll work this time. Send me your email. You can email me at don.leader5@gmail.com. That's me 5@gmail.com. Or we have a Facebook page. Oh, am I doing it backward? I think it's this way. Okay. Facebook page, HFPD Writers, Homewood Flossmoor Park District Writers. Or it might be this way. I wrote it backwards on one page and now I'm not sure which way it's supposed to go. So, sorry. Really, my niece Piper is working furiously on editing my videos, so someday this will just all pop up and be seamless and beautiful. But since I'm a first-time video maker, I kind of suck and I apologize. I'm going to find me a video class to figure out how to do this better though. Okay, so anyway, send me your ideas, send me your thoughts, send me your favorites and least favorites and why. I really want to know. And let's move on to the next thing. So today we're talking about character. I mentioned how I love a gripping character, right? So I'm not going to let you get away with flat, boring characters that I don't care about. Let's make characters we care about. So in your book, you probably need at least 2 or 3 characters, right? You need a protagonist, you need an antagonist, you need a sidekick. Okay, so just like in real life, you need a hero, right? You need that person who's either giving the hero a reason to become a hero, because if they're just sitting around with nothing to do playing video games all day, nothing's going to happen. So if your character suddenly has something to overcome, or there's always an evil stepmother in books and stories, not always, there's often evil stepmothers or some kind of character like that comes in, turns up their otherwise boring and regular life and makes it somehow extraordinary because they have something to overcome, right? We'll talk tomorrow about the bell curve of how your story arcs, but for now, we'll think about our characters. So somebody that causes something to happen to make your character extraordinary. I also like a sidekick. Batman needs a Robin, right? Or a butler. What was the butler's name? Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I can't remember. I'm going to get all kinds of nasty emails because I forgot the name of Batman's butler, which I watched on TV all the time as a child. What was his name? I can't remember. Anyway, not important. The important part is Batman needs a Robin. People need a cheerleader. You need a friend who can help you figure things out. You need a person who they're fighting for. Perhaps it's maybe person with evil stepmother also has a younger sibling that they're trying to save or rescue or take care of. And so there's always a little more excitement when you have that third person in there. Hopefully your book or story or whatever will have lots of characters and lots of different aspects. So let's start thinking about who those characters are going to be and why. So if your character is a girl, let's say we're writing Cinderella. Character is a girl. Yawn fest, right? Random girl, no big deal, who cares? What makes her extraordinary? She has the ability to talk to mice and listen to them. She has an amazing singing voice. She can really whip that broom around the living room or whatever. What makes her exciting? Otherwise, she's just boring old girl sitting in the corner pouting, right? So let's think about how to make her exciting. Evil villains are easier, right? Because they're evil and they've got all kinds of evil stuff. But not so fast. You can't just write, this is evil stepmother, she was born evil, she's evil, the end, she's evil. If you've seen any movie where there's an evil character these days, it seems like there's a backstory, right? You need to know what it is. You can't just say, she's evil, the end. She came in, she was evil for no reason, the end. She's jealous of Cinderella. She's angry at her life not turning out the way she wanted. She's trying to get rid of Cinderella to get all of her money and her fancy cinder-covered house. Whatever it is, there has to be a reason. There has to be a reason that she's evil. Nobody's born just plain old evil most of the time. I suppose that you can argue, you can make tons of arguments against that. But for our purposes here, you need a backstory. What I would like you to do is figure out your story. So we talked about topics already. You should have been thinking about some ideas and how to, and what you want to write about. If you haven't got ideas yet, please send me a message, post below, post on our Facebook page. Somehow I will help you come up with a story, because by now you've got to have some idea of what you want to write. For those of you who are not writers, this all applies to you too. I don't want to see a picture of a bowl of fruit. Pictures of bowls of fruit are lovely and they have their place on hospital walls and hotel rooms and your grandma's kitchen. But in real life, for this class, there has to be more to it. Nobody wants to look at a bowl of fruit. We all know what a bowl of fruit looks like. What's interesting about your bowl of fruit? Is there a creepy hand reaching in to grab the apple? Then we all of a sudden have a story, right? It's the creepy witch getting the apple to kill Snow White or whatever it is. Is there some kind of a critter crawling up the apple? Then there's a story about the critter. It's a caterpillar, or it's a ladybug, or it's an alien or something. There has to be more to your picture. Otherwise, it's not a story. It's just a boring still life of fruit in a bowl. So even if your character's not in the picture, artists, your character should be implied. So that creepy hand, it's just a hand and a bowl of fruit, but that hand makes that bowl of fruit something completely different. And there's a story. That story might mean something different to you than it does to the person who's looking at it, but it gives it a story. Okay. So your characters, I want you to write a little synopsis of what your story is going to be and who your characters are. Then I want you to look at that list of characters and know every single one of those characters as well as you know yourself. If you don't, bad writer. And I'm going to tell you, I don't feel like you know your character when I go back to read your stories. So this is the most important thing you can do as a writer. It's the most important thing. I'm serious about this, guys. If you don't do this, I'll know. And so will everybody else who reads your material. And I bet you can go back and find examples of things you've read that are in your don't like column that writer did not know the characters as well as they should have. So here's what you're going to do. Ready? You are going to take every single character and write a bio for them. Write their biography. So their name, their age, their backstory. So why did they become evil? You should know that. Did they grow up with two parents in a happy home? Did they grow up poor? Did they grow up wealthy? Did something happen to them? Were they bullied at school? Even if you're writing a story about a 55-year-old evil witch from some fantastical land, wherever witches in Disney stories come from, you should know where she went to grade school and if she had a best friend and everything else about her history. I want to know what your character's favorite flavor of ice cream is, or do they like meat or are they a vegetarian? I want to know what your character's favorite flower is and why. Do they love daisies because daisies are so happy? Do they hate roses because of that one time that they pricked their wrist on a thorn and almost bled to death? There's always reasons for things. You have a favorite flower and there's probably a reason for it. It reminds you of somebody, the smell or something. So think about these things with your characters, because if you're writing this fantasy story and there's a witch who always has roses everywhere, there's a reason she has roses everywhere. Maybe she couldn't afford roses when she was young and first married. Who knows what it is? You know what it is, and you're going to tell us. So let me hear the backstory. You should have a full bio. A fun exercise that I do in all of my in-person classes when I do writing. We have Write On at the Park District, and this is always second or third week project, is I do interviews with you and your character. So you can write this out, or you can have somebody at your house do an interview for you. You can write out a list of questions and have them ask you, or you can do it yourself. Make like a little script between yourself, the interviewer, and your character, and do an interview. So if you were going to interview this person, what would you ask them? What's your name? What's your life like? Who do you live with? Do they have pets? You might want to know what their hobbies are. Besides being evil, what else do you do? What do you do on your weekends off when you're taking a day off from evilness? Where do they like to go on vacation? Where do they live? Why do they live there? Do they live in a castle? Do they live in a cave? Do they live under a rock? All of these things are so, so, so important. And if you're writing more realistic, less fantastical characters, do you have a homeless girl in your book? How did she become homeless? What made her decide to keep this life versus doing something to get herself into a shelter or a home or something? If your character is just average, everyday, regular girl, you still need to know, did she have friends at school? Is she bullied? Is she a bully? Is she just regular? Who are her best friends? Does she play with that weird boy down the street who always picks his nose? If so, why are the two of them connected? What do they have in common that makes them bonded together? And how is he going to figure into this story? There's like so many things about this story, once you've got this bio down, are going to just click right into place for you. So the more you know your character, the easier it's going to be to write their story. So let's leave it right there for today. Make your list, good and bad stories. Make your why. Why do you love these books? Why do you not love these books or pieces of art or whatever? And then tell me about your characters. So send me a character list with their bio. I'll send you back questions if you want. We can do a fun email interview. I'll ask you questions about your characters. You can send me back the answers. That'd be fun, right? That'll take up some time while we're on lockdown. So this is day 3 of your writing and storytelling lockdown free class from the Homewood Flossmoor Park District. I am Dawn Peloso. Here may or may not be in reverse our Facebook page, HFPD Writers, Homewood Flossmoor Park District, Writers, with an S on the end. Sorry if my finger's blocking that. And here's my email, dawnleader5, dawn.leader5. Don't forget the dot between the dawn and the leader, which I do all the time, 5@gmail.com. Send it to me. I'll send you my comments. I would love to hear feedback. I'd love to hear what you're doing. I'd love to provide you writing critiques. I'm really, really bored at home, although I am actually working from home, so 8 hours of my day is my job. But send me some stuff, guys. I can't wait to read what you're doing, and let me know that you're out there and I'm not screaming into the abyss. Okay. See you guys tomorrow.